to Down to Earth. I'm Daphne Richards. Our question this week is from Nancy, who wants to know what to do with her tomatoes when hot weather comes very early in the spring or is sporadic. She's already had several 90-degree days in her area. And yes, by mid-April, Nancy, and even earlier most years, it is already hot in central Texas. Though tomatoes do love the heat, it can be too intense for them here. When we have hot weather early in the planting season, you definitely need to be careful watering those plants. And when we have hot weather during the flowering season, fruiting will be affected. Hot temperatures and dry air will denature the pollen on those flowers, making it infertile. So what you want to be careful about is watering those plants properly early in the season. So good quality, small aggregate mulch around those plants will increase the humidity in the air around them, helping to keep the pollen nice and moist so that it will be active. You may also use a little bit of light shade cloth to decrease the intensity of the sun, but be careful not to use too heavy of a grade on that so you don't screen out too much of the sun. These plants do need a full day of sun to flower and fruit for you. Also, regular irrigation is important to combat blossom end rot and fruit cracking. Blossom end rot is caused by calcium deficiency, but that calcium deficiency is caused by irregular watering. Watering too little and then too much, and letting the soil dry out and stay too wet in between your waterings. Our plant this week is native prairie verbena, Glandularia bipinnatifida. It's another one of our beautiful native wildflowers that may be seen along roadsides and in fields if it's not overshadowed by those taller wildflowers in nature. It has beautiful light purple round clusters of flowers on short stalks. And like most of our native wildflowers, prairie verbena does well in shallow, rocky, disturbed soils. It can grow great in full sun, but it can also tolerate shade. It just might have fewer flowers in that situation. It spreads easily, making it a great ground cover choice, or use it to fill in near rocky paths and borders. It has blue-green, velvety-looking foliage with highly divided leaves, and it'll do fine on natural rainfall. It'll perform a little bit better if you irrigate it just a bit, but don't overwater it. Stays around 6 inches tall and spreads easily to 18 inches wide and much wider if given space. It's a perennial, so it dives back to the ground and returns from the roots each year. It looks great planted in large open areas and left unmowed, although it's easy to miss when you plant it in wildflower seed mixes with other taller wildflowers. It's listed as hardy to 28 degrees, so these would not have trouble re-emerging after a cold winter. To do this week in your garden, it's time to prune any spring flowering trees, shrubs, or vining roses if those flowers are spent and you need to keep that plant in bounds. This does not apply to your fruit trees, but you do need to thin out the fruit for better harvest. So once those flowers are spent, be watching for the fruit so you can prune them out and have larger fruit but fewer. We'd love to hear from you. Please visit klru.org/ctg to send us your question or a plant of the week from your garden.